Welcome to the last video of polynomials, which is dividing by a monomial, meaning to say we are dividing a polynomial of 1, 2, or more terms divided by a monomial, which is a single-termed polynomial. Okay, and basically the bottom line of this is saying that whenever I have more than one term in the numerator and I'm dividing the whole numerator by a single term, I can actually break up the numerator into two different fractions and divide both of those fractions by the same denominator. So these two are equivalent, and that makes our lives a whole heck of a lot easier when we're trying to simplify, because 7 divided by 7 is 1, and 21 divided by 7 is 3. So now I end up with y squared plus 3, which is a lot easier than having to do long division for something like this. So let's move on to the next one here. Now here it's saying we have 18x cubed minus 36x squared, and that whole quantity is being divided by 6x. So what does that actually mean? If we were to write this as a fraction, we would say 18x cubed minus 36x squared, all of that is being divided by 6x. But as we just talked about, we can take each of those individual terms in the numerator and rewrite them as two separate fractions or two separate divisions, both of which are being divided by 6x. So then I can cancel out one of the x's in the denominator with one of the x's in the numerator, so that can become x squared. And then that x is going to cancel out with the 2, with the squared part. And then we just go ahead and simplify. 18 divided by 6 is 3, and 36 divided by 6 is 6. So what we end up with here is 3x squared minus 6x. For those of us kind of having trouble as to how I was able to cancel out the x cubed with an x and it just being x squared, keep in mind that x cubed is really saying x times x times x. Okay, and if I'm just dividing it by an x, that means to say that one of these are able to cancel out. So I'm left with 2 x's, which is the same as x squared. So it's kind of like just a little side note here to remind ourselves of what's actually happening there. All right. Okay, so here's the next one. We have find the quotient, which really just means simplify it. Okay, break it up and simplify it. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to break up the 12d squared, and I'm going to divide it by negative 4, and then I'm going to subtract 16d divided by negative 4. So then 12 divided by negative 4 is going to end up being a negative 3, and 16 divided by negative 4 is going to end up being a negative 4. So I have negative 3d squared, and then I have two negatives together, so it becomes plus 4d. All right, so here's the next one. We have just, I think, 3 more examples. Okay, so again, we're starting to get into some more simplifying variables. So I'm going to break up what I can. So I have 105 y to the 5th over 5y squared plus 75 y to the 3rd over 5y squared. So 105 divided by 5 is 21. And then y squared is going to cancel out with 5. And really, we're just subtracting, right? So 5 minus 2 is 3. And then we have 75 divided by 5, which is going to be 15. And again, same thing here, the y squared and the y cubed, the cube goes away. So what do I have left here? I have 21y to the third plus 15. Sorry, that's a terrible 15. Let me try that one again. 15y. And that's our answer. Okay. Now notice, in the next example, I have not just one variable, but I have two. So that's something a little bit different than we've seen before. So first I'm going to rewrite it as a division problem with the fractions. So I'm going to have 15x cubed y minus 35xy squared, all of which is being divided by negative 5xy. Now I'm going to go ahead and take it one step further and break up the fraction into two separate fractions. So I have 15x cubed y, that's going to be divided by negative 5xy. And then I'm going to do minus 35xy squared, and that's being divided by negative 5xy. So again, I'm dividing the numerator by the same denominator. Now let's cancel out. So the y's are going to cancel here. That x is going to cancel out with that 3, and that becomes a 2. And then negative 5 goes into 15 negative 3 times. All right, so here the x's cancel, and then the y goes into the y squared twice. Well, cancels out with one of them, and then 35 divided by negative 5 is going to be negative 7. So I have negative 3 x squared, and then I have two negatives here, so plus 7. The x's have canceled, and I'm left with a y. If you need to break these canceling steps out into a couple different ones, or use different colors to separate, so like that, so like say that canceled and that canceled, you can do that. If you need to rewrite this another time, actually doing the 3 x's, like x divided by x, and then canceling it and seeing that you have x squared left over, you can. Just, you know, these are just all strategies for you to be able to do the same problem and be able to practice. All right, so now we have a trinomial with two different variables. So let's break this up a little bit. So we have 36x squared y squared divided by 9x squared y. Then we have plus 27x squared y squared divided by 9x squared y. Okay, and then we have minus 9x squared y squared divided by 9x squared y. Okay, and I'm actually going to use different colors here. So I know that the x squareds are going to cancel here. I know that these x squareds are going to cancel here as well. I also know that the x squareds are going to end up canceling here as well. And I actually rewrote this incorrectly. This should be a cubed, not a square. All right. I also know that the 9s are going to end up canceling. Okay, so now let's do our simplifications of numbers here. So I can do 9 goes into 36 4 times. 9 goes into 27 3 times. And then we said that the 9s already cancel. Now, y squared divided by y, that's going to end up canceling. We're just left with one y. Same thing here. And then here, it's going to cancel out one of the y's, but then I have 2 left. So my final answer here is going to be 4y plus 3y. And then we have minus y squared. And I'm sorry, I just realized here that should have been a 3. I copied that down wrong. I'm sorry. So that means to say we have to fix something here. So 9 squared cancels out with 3, and I'm left with 1x. So I actually have an x there as well. Okay, so that's going to be our final answer. All right. Okay, so go ahead and make sure you practice this. Keep in mind this is the last video on the polynomial series, which means to say the next thing that we're going to be talking about is factoring. All right, I will see you next video.